or something.
Good evening, all. I apologize for the delay. We have a quorum. We have Amy Long on Zoom with us, so if we could all rise, and Mr. Morse, I forgot the order. Were we gonna do the pledge first? Okay, I apologize. We're gonna go ahead and do the pledge, and then Mr. Morse will lead us in prayer. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you for another day of life that you have given to us, that we can enjoy your planet. Thank you for this opportunity once a month for us to gather together as citizens, as the council members and the other representatives of our city. And we pray that this meeting would be productive. We thank you for what the mayor and the council has done over the past few months. And thank you for Attorney Duncan as he directs the legal aspect of this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Lord, I just pray as we go forward as the United States of America, that we would be united, that we would be loving and caring and greeting people with a smile rather than anger. So Lord, I pray as we go forward that you would guide and direct us and we would allow ourselves to be available for you. I pray for this meeting tonight in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir. She's got low battery. If she drops off, are we still good?
As long as we can see her and hear her on that.
Okay.
And I just muted it, so I'll unmute it. Is it plugged in?
Yeah, it shows it's charging.
Get out of your way, sorry.
I'll unmute mine.
Thank you again for your patience. Giovanna, can we get a roll call?
Rose Beach. Amy Long.
Here.
Barb Farrow.
Here. Here.
Sherry Gaskell.
Here.
Dan Martin.
Here.
Matt Brown.
Okay, a few announcements. Sorry. That's painful to me.
And no doubt.
So just a reminder that this Saturday's Old Fashioned Day. We hope to see everyone there. October 1st.
Now I can't hear you.
Amy, can you hear me now?
Maybe leave Mr. Duncan.
Can you still hear?
Yes.
Let's see if there's kickback. There is. Can we mute that one again?
Yeah.
Hey, you're getting your steps in tonight.
I might as well get over there on the workout machine.
Don't forget to hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Okay, so back to announcements. We have October 1st is our caucus meeting at 6:30 in council chambers over at City Hall. October the 8th will be the events planning meeting at 6:15 here in the Senior Center. That's prior to the council meeting. The council meeting will be the same day, October the 8th at 7 p.m. here in the Senior Center. October the 14th, City Hall will be closed for Columbus Day. And just a reminder that on November the 11th, there will be a Veterans Day celebration here at the Senior Center. And City Hall will be closed that day. If I can I get an approval of the agenda, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Amy Long. Amy. Amy, can we get we got a first and second on the approval of the agenda?
Can you hear us now, Amy? Okay, perfect, thank you.
Tell her thumbs up or thumbs down.
That's a good idea.
Oh, Emma. You said everyone is muted.
Okay, we're good now, thank you.
Barb Farrow.
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell.
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Yes.
And if we could get an approval of the minutes from the July 9th council meeting?
Motion to approve.
We'll second that.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Barb Caro,
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
And we'll open it up for citizens' comments. Anyone? Thank you. Thank you for those that are here as well. We'll move on to Sheriff's Department Major Bill Mark. Bring some normalcy to this meeting, Major Mark. Help us out here.
If you're looking for normal for me, you're looking for normal. It's good to be with y'all tonight. The council's got my report. Pretty sedate month for August in Walton. Came to Jen's y'all, but not over with you. Had a pretty quiet summer. There was 975 law enforcement events in and for the city of Walton by the Sheriff's Department in August 2024. Some of those include 11 911 hang-ups. We responded to 19 alarm drops, 2 attempts to locate, 5 animal complaints. Deputies investigated 16 auto accidents. Luckily, none of those involved any persons injured. They did 21 business checks, attended 67 civil or criminal summonses, handled 13 domestic disputes, 5 reports of intoxicated persons on emotional crisis, 3 juvenile trouble calls, 13 motorist assists. They responded to 1 overdose, 6 requests for information. They logged 413 spot checks, responded to 26 suspicious activity reports, handled 2 theft investigations. They logged 32 traffic complaints. Mayor, 8 of those were at Old Stevenson Mill and Central, and there were no violations.
Thank you.
Deputies conducted 73 traffic stops. They logged 2 vacation checks, handled 19 vehicle complaints. We unlocked 8 cars, did 10 wanted person calls, and all told they issued 56 citations and made 7 arrests.
Thank you, sir. Is your microphone on? Amy's saying she can't hear anything. I just want to make sure. Is your green light on in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear better? Amy?
I think I'm hearing in the room what y'all are sitting in front of, and then when you mute it, I hear you mute, and whatever camera you're sitting in front of, I don't hear anything.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Major Mark. I do have a question. I know that Amy had brought it up previously and we discussed a potential ordinance, but we understood that it wasn't going to be easy to police. The mini bikes in the neighborhoods.
Yes.
Have you received any calls, or is there anything that we can do as citizens, because there's just a concern for the children's safety at this point?
And when you're talking about mini bikes, are you talking about like kind of like the little small? Are you talking about like regular dirt bikes or like the little?
Both, and the little 50s, like the little Honda 50s. We're seeing them on the streets in the neighborhoods, and they're obviously unlicensed folks because they're children. And there's just
We have received several complaints of some of them. I think maybe on, don't hold me to it, but maybe Shepherd, I know it's somewhere in Wildcat Run. And deputies have responded back there on several occasions, but I don't know what the disposition was.
If we were to call the non-emergency line, and for the folks who are reaching out, they're aware of, which I'm not necessarily aware of where it stems from, what house or who they are. But if they were to call the non-emergency line and you were to see the mini bike parked at the house, is that a conversation that could be had, or do they have to be caught in the act?
If we see a potential of offending vehicle at a residence and we suspect it's juveniles involved, then the deputy can always attempt to make contact with the parent. And it might be something where we would just educate the parents and educate the child and maybe resolve the problem. And if not, at least they've been put on notice that there's potentially enforcement action in the future for them if it persists.
So would the natural route and the one that's preferred be called the non-emergency line because in the summertime, obviously, the kids were more free to do what they're doing, but now when they're coming out of school, you can pretty much assume that it's going to happen from 3:30 to 5:30. So would the citizens call the non-emergency
And
line?
folks really don't have to use the non-emergency line. I mean, they can go ahead and call 911, even though it's not, technically an emergency.
Okay,
It's a lot easier to remember.
understood.
But yeah, like I said, I know, there has been some issues that involve Cat Run, but I don't know, what came of it. And the reason I asked about what kind of vehicle it was, kind of like the smaller, like more like electrical bikes, or where they're just kind of like overgrown toys. Yeah, they can just ride those on the street. There's essentially no regulation to those at all.
So like the high-speed kind of skateboards or the electrical bikes, those are permitted?
Yep, they can ride those on the street.
But the mini bikes, what we're accustomed to as children, those are
Yes.
not allowed?
Yeah.
The motors that make
Something
noise.
that actually has an
All night long.
internal combustion engine and is, a motorcycle per se, it would have to be licensed.
Understood, thank you. And one other thing, you mentioned Central and Old Stevenson Hill, but you said no citations, but there were,
No violations observed.
oh, okay, but there's been attention placed there and
Yeah.
no violations
Yeah,
observed?
Anytime a deputy spends time observing a location that's on the traffic complaint list, they log that location in the CAD, so we can tell, the date and time that the deputy was there observing. But then I could also tell that there were no traffic stops.
Understood. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything for Major Mark?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
They go till 10 o'clock at night.
Fire Department, Chief Joey Best.
Good evening.
True story.
Ready?
Total number of incidents fire departments responded to for the year 2024 through August 31st is 908. Out of that 908 incidents, 315 of those were within the city limits, which equates to just shy of 35% of our total run volume. Richwood area, things were quite busy in August. We had 404 responses in the Richwood area, which is just shy of 45%. And in the unincorporated Boone County and Kenton County portions or districts, we responded to 189 additional incidents, which comes up to almost 21% of the total run volume combined. For the month of August, we responded to 14 motor vehicle crashes, 2 overdoses, 2 electrical fires in a residence, and 2 inside gas leaks. Anybody have any questions for me? For short and sweet.
Is there a reason for the increased gas leaks? Or is it just one of those things?
No, I mean, I believe both of these incidents was natural gas. So people have, dryers, water heaters, stoves, furnaces. So it's nothing to do with them running the furnace necessarily. It's just somewhere in the house, there's a leak in a line somewhere.
Gotcha.
One of them, I recall, we found was the gas line that went into the stove or range. And that's where it was. So,
That's a good question.
Thank you, Chief, for all that you do.
just a reminder to everyone, our fire department has got an open house scheduled for October 19th. It will be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll have hamburgers and hot dogs, drinks, stuff like that, some fun activities. Our new fire engines will be there. The one arrived in Shelbyville, Kentucky yesterday, and the other one is supposed to arrive there tomorrow morning.
Sweet.
So they get the finishing touches, getting all the radios and the headsets, that kind of stuff installed. And when we get them, it'll be here probably about the end of September, beginning of October. And we'll go on a swivel and get them ready to go.
Great update. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Cardinal Engineering, Mr. Matt Bogan.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right, I feel like I have a lot of odds and ends on our road projects this month. We started work on the first round of repairs on our concrete panel replacement contract. That is over on Shepherd Way and a small area on Haley Lane. Both areas are torn out, ready for pouring. The contractor will be out here in the morning, pouring both of those. Jerry and I have been looking around and getting another round of repairs planned for probably later this fall. Some sidewalk panels on Walton Trace that are cracked or settling that need some work just to alleviate the trip hazard. We'll coordinate with the contractor and get some dates set on those. Also, the miscellaneous asphalt patching jobs that Riddler didn't have time for, we've given that to Denoshko Excavating. The amount of that contract is $13,445, and they should be getting started on that probably next week. Also, we had a water main break over on Richland Court, and from talking to one of the property owners, they noticed that there was some leakage happening under the roadway and under their parking pads off the side of the road. And Mayor and I, Gary, met them out there and we're looking around. It looks like there might be some voids under the pavement. So we have a geotechnical engineer coming out to do a study and use ground penetrating radar to kind of map the extent of those voids and figure out what needs to be done about it. Most likely it'll just be some chemical grouting, kind of like the spray foam insulation, just to pump that into there and fill those voids so we can pave over it and it won't continue being undermined. The leak has been addressed, Public Works already got that taken care of, but we just need to make sure that the road is stabilized. Also, our first speed hump installation has been in place on University for about 3 weeks now. I've heard some good feedback that people are happy with how that's been going. Haven't heard any complaints yet. We are working on getting a second set of speed humps to put out on Bettinger, but as I mentioned in the past, those are removable installations. So it's one area, we seem to, it looks like the speeding complaints are slowing down. We can't transfer that elsewhere in the city and target the areas of concern. On the Owens Park property, the Civil Solutions, the same geotech that's going to do the work on Richland, is going to do some testing to try and figure out, trace back the source of the groundwater seepage that we've noticed in the low-lying area. They'll be out on site on Thursday taking some samples, and they said it will be about a month before they have the analysis back and recommendations on how to address that.
With that, and Mr. Bogan, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we didn't have caucus meetings, so I just want to make sure that council and our citizens are aware, one, what we're trying to avoid, two, the necessity prior to laying the walking path. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so this has been going on a while. The area below the dam, Jerry and I and Councilman Brown, who's been out there, have noticed that there is an area that, the low-lying region that stays wet, and there is a slow but steady trickle of water that's coming from the area around the dam down towards the road. I haven't noticed anything that's any cause of emergency. The dam is not moving. There's nothing like that where it's going to collapse or we're going to have a flood or anything like that. But before we go and pave the multi-use path and really develop the park property, I wanted to kind of get a handle on where that water is coming from, if there's, if it's seeping through the dam, if it's the outlet structure for the old pump works, if it's the pipe that comes under to the old pump house. I just kind of want to get a feel for where that water is coming from and what needs to be done to stop that before we get the park developed. And it's a much more expensive fix to start ripping stuff and tear out pavement or park amenities or whatever, and get that corrected. So we met with Civil Solutions. They came out and walked the dam, walked the area below that. They're going to take some soil samples along the dam and the area below that, just take that back for analysis and see if they can get that traced and make recommendations for what would need to be done to improve that situation. And then, actually, before I go on this, I have one more thing. I didn't put this in the report, but I drove past on the way here. The turn lane improvements on the southbound off-ramp are getting started. That's what that concrete wall along the side of it is. State's contractor's getting started on that. They said that the completion date would be mid-November, but they said that it would probably need 2 or 3 weeks to get it done. So when that will be done, there will be 2 left turn lanes coming off the ramp and 1 right turn lane. Hopefully help with the traffic capacity and to keep from the queue lengths backing up onto the interstate. So it's a Band-Aid until we can get our new interchange, but all the things. And then the last item, everybody's been privy to the discussions about our water and sewer moratorium. We did have a potential user approach us for the building used to be TF Metals over at Precision Drive. Jeremy Worley from BNKY is here to help answer any questions you guys might have. But Ryan and I had talked about it, and to keep council and get your input on it as well. So obviously some of this is proprietary information that they will divulge to potentially jeopardize the sale of the property, but they would be making food flavoring additives. It's a company on the west coast that's looking to expand out into this area. They will be bringing 50 new jobs over the next 5 years. Ryan and I talked about Ryan's always had concerns about taking on industrial sanitary flow in the city just because of contaminants and need for pre-treatment and stuff that most of our users don't take on. Jeremy's been very helpful coordinating with his client, providing information. They said that all of their discharge would be ambient temperature. pH is fairly neutral. It's not going to require a whole lot of additional work on our end to make that suitable for inflow into the wastewater treatment plant. No dyes, anything like that. The flow rate is, he said that they do, they'll have the daily use for employees on the site, but as far as the industrial flow, that they will do a rinsing operation every other working day, just to clean out the system. And the average is comparable to what TF Metals was. The low volume is under, the high volume is slightly over, but the average is out a little bit less. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to pick Jeremy's brain. If he doesn't know, he can get answers for you from the client.
And so there's really, from your point of view and Ryan's point of view, no concern because one, it's not a new sewer hookup, correct?
Correct. Yeah, this is redevelopment of an existing site, and in comparable flow levels, we're not taking on a lot of additional flow. It's not new property being built on.
So essentially, it's a wash from where we were.
Correct.
Does anyone have
But
questions?
things being the way they are, I wanted to make sure everybody was fully informed on that, and if anyone had any strong objections before we get into doing it.
When did TF Metals move out? Do you know off the top of your head?
It's been a few months, right?
June 30th.
June.
Oh, okay, so recently. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I don't know if they've been vacant for a couple of years or something. No.
They may have actually vacated before, but their warn notice stated no more employees on site after June 30th of this year.
Okay, gotcha. So you're representing the company that wants to come in?
I wouldn't say representing,
Yeah.
representing BNKY as the economic development agency that works with companies that are looking to come into Boone County and Campbell County.
Okay.
And this is a great project. This is one that, we target. It's one of the industries that we go after. We have a really strong food and bev and flavor industry in the greater Cincinnati area.
So that's, obviously why they're targeting our spot and considering some other locations as well. But this is a first kind of step of them clearing the due diligence for that property and making sure that they would be permitted to operate there.
But you would consider them much more like industrial manufacturing as opposed to like warehouse,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
okay.
definitely. This is definitely advanced manufacturing
Okay.
for the food and flavor industry.
Mhm.
So they make powders and they make liquids. And so that every other day rinse is their sanitary rinse. They're cleaning their equipment as they're required to by the FDA.
So to dumb it down for me, it's really no different than me selling my house and Bobby buying my house, right? One person vacates, the other one moves in, just to make sure that we're in line because of the moratorium. I know that we're all walking softly and trying to do right, and I appreciate your carefulness with that. And honestly, I believe council and myself really rely heavily on you, Ryan, and Mr. Duncan. So does council have any concerns?
I don't have any objections.
We should just rely on our experts?
You gotta trust them. Gotta trust them.
Jerry, to take that even a step further, they're using the existing building, right? They're not reconstructing anything on the sidewalk.
Right. There will be some tenant improvements, probably about $4.5 million, $5 million. That hasn't been finalized yet. We do expect that they'll be in town within the next week with their general contractor to go through the building and really look at their structures, where they need to lay equipment out to make their production lines work, and what kind of improvements need to happen inside of the building. They are asking for approval by Thursday. They just want to make sure before they, miss another opportunity in a different state, that you guys are going to be accepting of their wastewater demands.
Are you looking for a vote?
I don't think you guys need to vote. That would be on you, I think, you're the attorney, so.
Yeah, I think the mayor has asked for any objections and heard none, so I think you can take that as a positive.
If we move forward and say a couple months down the line, Ryan or Matt gets a call saying, hey, they are doing this. We didn't think they were doing this, but they are doing this. Do we have any chance to go back at that point?
Same as we would as if TF had stayed there.
Okay.
I like the mayor's analogy. I think we would have a legal problem if we tried to stop them under all the facts that we know now.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we're in agreement that we have no concerns?
It being a wash is okay by me.
Okay. Did you have something?
I was going to say, based on the number of people for 5 years, I think, metals have double that number of employees.
Hmm.
So that's less flushing of the toilet.
And whereas the rinsing process, and I can't speak to, or, processes TF Metals had that use water runoff or whatever. I do know that they had more than those.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, based on the industry standards for estimating those things, the flow for TF Metals would have been around 440 something gallons per day, and the average for this user was 328. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, the high use days when they're doing the rinse and the flushing on their systems would be in the 500s, but the low use days were in the 160s. So, yeah, it's
Sounds good.
all right. Any other questions?
I have a question, sir, about the turn lane in front of AutoZone. I'm sorry, it may be in my email,
Yes.
but when are we looking at that?
Well, every time I've asked, the answer has been a couple weeks. Wriggler is doing it, and they have some other jobs that they're trying to get closed out first. I think the last time you asked, and I checked with them, and it was a couple weeks, and that was a couple weeks ago. So could be tomorrow, could be another couple weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll keep in touch with them, and as soon as I have an idea when that'll be going, I'll let you guys know.
Anything else for Mr. Bogan?
Nothing on the railroad this month? I don't know what to do with that railroad.
They did get, I got an email from Duke last week saying that the railroad had called in survey coordinates on where the new poles would go. So they are presumably in the field checking it out and making sure, checking what the impacts on the right of way would be.
Good, so that's forward progress.
So that is That is an actual update and not yet a full. So.
That's awesome. Good question, Dan.
Hopefully I can-
Anything else for Mr. Bowden? We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. Bobby McDonald, Code Enforcement, would you like to share an update? I know you provided one, but we,
He's looking at you like,
like the teacher that called on the kid that wasn't paying attention.
right.
Not on the agenda.
Yeah, I know, but you're here, so thank you for being here.
I've been busier with water lines than with code enforcement. As you can see on the update, the code enforcement computer was down for about 2 weeks. Nico got me doing it today. We don't write a lot of citations anyway, but they kind of stopped me on some of the progress that I was doing. The amount of cases that you see in front of me, if I get a complaint on one street, thing I worked out with the previous mayor, and I still do it with Mayor Courtney, is I'm not gonna come to Dan's house if, you know, somebody complains about your grass, and if your neighbor's grass is just soft. I'm also gonna go talk to your neighbor.
Right.
So, if I get a complaint on Jimstone, as you'll see in there, I light up the whole street. But usually within a few days, those people call me, hey, I cut my grass. It all works out. There were a couple of carryover cases from Mr. Caldwell that I'm working with that were also kind of carryover from when I was code enforcement before. Trying to work with the people as best I can. Everybody gives me different reasons why it's taken 6 to 8 months to bring things up, but we try to work with people as much as we can. I am seeing improvements on each property. It's just really slow. But the one, Caldwell did cite them back in February, and it would end up being like a $6,000 citation if we did it. And it would just, if what they're telling me is true, it would probably devastate the family. So I'm holding off. They're making slow progress. We'll just keep working on it. Other than that, we've got some bigger still drainage issues that I'm working with Mr. Bogan and Mr. Bogan. You got any questions?
Well, I'll say I'm tickled that you're back, so thank you for what you do, and I appreciate the grace that you give our citizens, because, you know, as you know, the goal's not to be punitive, it's just to work with our citizens to help them, you know, to come within the requirements of what's set by ordinances, so thank you for the grace that you allow.
And also a heads up, you will get, I'll forward it on, as it was sent to me, short-term rental complaint stuff that was sent to Wildcat, they do have a petition together that they sent to me, so I'll forward it on to you all. And I'll kind of probably talk this or whatever, we can have more in-depth discussion about what they think those issues are.
With mowing, Bobby, do you go strictly by height, or is it more of like a visual appearance?
The ordinance is 8 inches.
Okay.
I don't get out and measure it, but I don't send anybody out. Like the one guy that called me and was like, man, I'm so sorry. He's like, my grass had to have been at least 18 inches to 2 feet tall. I don't, if it's like at the ordinance, I ain't messing with it. It's gotta be knee height. I'm not sending them a letter or knocking on their door.
Yeah.
Gotta need a bush hog.
And just for transparency purposes, when, you know, we were absent a code enforcement officer for an amount of time, and, you know, I think that we all saw neighborhoods that probably needed attention. So when Bobby came back, he decided that he was going to start at one end of town and just do a sweep, just to help people get back to where we needed to be. That wasn't received well, which understandable, right? No one wants to be approached about how their yard may look, but I appreciate what Bobby's doing, right? If someone's complaining and yet the neighbor across the street has the same issue, it's okay to have that conversation. But again, Bobby's not approaching them, you know, in a way that leaves them feeling unheard or uncomfortable. So again, thank you for the grace that you provide and the way that you're approaching our citizens and your willingness to work with them.
Yeah, many people that were upset that they got a bunch of people were fine with it. They're like, I'm glad somebody's kind of looking out.
Gotcha.
Making sure that we're keeping our stuff in order. Some people don't know about some of the rules. A lot of it's just information. But the sweeps are done. Like if I get a complaint, like I said, I'm down here every day right now doing meter stuff. But enforcement stuff every day and just come swooping through the city. If I get, like I said, get a complaint in one neighborhood, go ahead and drive around there. Write all the addresses down and talk to them people. Kind of go from there.
If you will too, just so the council's aware and our citizens, can you explain the meter project that you're working on?
Public Works, the water department, I guess, asked them to go around and any house that was built before '88, I believe, we have to dig inside the meter pit, dig up the city side and the customer side, and take a picture of it. Label it, whether it's plastic on our side, plastic on the other side, we're looking for that. Unfortunately, they won't take the word of our seasoned public works employees that know what's in the ground, we gotta take a picture of it and dig it up. Some of them take 2 seconds, some of them we take the lid off, there they are, and some of them are completely full of mud. Or it's completely dry, compacted dirt right now, it takes forever to dig it up, but I'm getting about 15 to 20 a day, and the other public works guys are doing something, so. We're kind of on track, I think, to have it all done before the deadline.
Barb, you have a question?
Yeah, he was on our street today. I seen him face down into those holes, looking at those pipes.
Well,
I was out there watching him, digging them up, you know?
And there's a bit of urgency to it, because if we do not meet the deadline of mid-October, it's my understanding that we could be fined. And so just thanks to the men at Public Works and for Bobby for making it a priority that we meet the deadline, and Bobby, just your willingness to pitch in and help. I know that aids our Public Works gentlemen greatly, so.
And we do have some great citizens. I've been checked on multiple times because people think I fell.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
They're like, are you okay? I'm like, playing here, digging.
I can see it, yeah.
It's great. I get to lay around with you.
Any other questions for Bobby? Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, so we'll move on to business. We lost Amy's connection, but Giovanna's pulling her back up. We absolutely need her for the next piece of business.
Sorry, my cell phone, or my iPad died.
Is your phone dead too?
No.
Okay, good.
I
We still
could-
have her there, Mr. Duncan?
I could, yeah, I still have her, I could bring that over.
Do you want us
so
to bring the other one over, Giovanna?
If you want.
That might help.
Recording in progress.
You still there, Amy? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes.
She can hear us, Mr. Duncan. We're good.
Okay.
And we're just helping you get your steps, sir. You're doing a great job. Okay, so we'll move right along. Actually, there was one other announcement that I noticed here on here that I hadn't seen. It's the city cleanup. Thank you. And so September 26th and 27th, and also September 28th and 29th. There is a flyer.
It's on our Facebook page.
It's on our Facebook page. It's been shared out there on social media. If you have questions about that, if you want to take a flyer home tonight, we have that if you need that. So just making you aware of that as well. Moving right along, ordinance number 2024-11. This is the second reading. An ordinance of the City of Walton granting a competitive, non-exclusive franchise to Spectrum Mid-America LLC, doing business as Charter Communications, for the erection, laying, operation, and maintenance of cable television transmission and distribution facilities, appurtenant equipment in, along, and across the public ways, roads, streets, alleys, and other public places in the city of Walton, Kentucky, for furnishing and selling cable and related services and products by means of said facilities, and authorizing and directing the mayor, city clerk, and city attorney to negotiate and execute an appropriate franchise agreement to carry out the terms of this ordinance. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As the Mayor indicated, this is the second reading of the ordinance, and this is required by Kentucky, both statute and our Constitution, that utilities need to have a franchise agreement to have their facilities within our public right-of-ways. So what we did in a previous ordinance is we created that franchise, put it out for bid, and Spectrum was the only bidder, and they already have their equipment here and so on, so it'll be nothing new. And they have proposed a 10-year renewable franchise, and we'll work out the terms of that once this ordinance is adopted. And you can do that by motion.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second that.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Barb Farrow,
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ordinance 2024-12, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Walton, Kentucky, creating a new section of Chapter 36 of the City of Walton Code of Ordinances in order to adopt a policy for city travel by city employees and elected officials. Mr. Duncan?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the next in a series of policies that the mayor and council have put forward. This one requires the city workers and officers to follow various requirements for travel, for air travel, for car travel, for getting reimbursement for expenses and so on. It prohibits the city to pay for alcoholic beverages while on travel, and a bunch of other restrictions that'll help us keep control of the city funds. So this is second reading. You can adopt this one by motion.
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Who thirded it?
Sherry.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Barb Farrow,
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2024-13, the second reading, an ordinance of the City of Walton, Kentucky, creating a new section of Chapter 36 of the City of Walton Code of Ordinances in order to adopt a policy for the use of city-issued equipment and related property to employees, officers, and elected officials. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mayor, and as you indicated, this is second reading and consideration for adoption. This is another in the series of policies that this mayor and council are putting forward to keep better track of, and in this case, equipment such as computers, laptops, iPads, and so on, requires them to be turned in when you leave the city's employee or no longer an officer of the city. And if you don't turn them in, you'll get a bill and be required to pay for them at current replacement cost. So you can adopt this ordinance by motion.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Barb Farrow,
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024-14, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Walton, Kentucky, amending ordinance 2024-02 and section 36.04 of Chapter 36 of the City of Walton Code of Ordinances in order to revise the city's policy for the use of city credit cards by city employees, officers, and elected officials. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and this is second reading, consideration for adoption, as the Mayor indicated. This revises slightly an ordinance that was adopted earlier this year, I believe, relating to the use of city credit cards. Receipts are required to be submitted within 14 days after the return from travel. That makes it consistent with the travel policy that was just adopted. Also, there was a provision in that ordinance that said if reimbursement is not made, the applicable amount shall be deducted from the next pay. I've determined in the meantime that that is not a lawful provision, so adopting this ordinance will strike those words. So you can adopt this motion, this ordinance by motion.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Barb Farrow,
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024